This is a reminder that you approved this policy and agreed to abide by it. A similar post got me thinking about my workplace. I work in a combined IT/AV department for a somewhat large organization, so if there are any events going on, we're responsible for setting it up, which usually involves setting up sound systems, projectors, and cameras, and ensuring that when someone plugs in their laptop, it functions as expected. For years, we got a lot of last-minute requests. Some of them were literally along the lines of, "We're having a gathering tomorrow with 300 people. We need audio and projectors set up for 9 a.m. tomorrow and for you to advance the slides for us. Plus this video in my PowerPoint presentation doesn't work. Can you fix it up? We know you leave work in half an hour, but can you set it up?" We knew about this for weeks, but nobody thought to tell you, so one day we complained to our manager, who agreed it was bullshit and asked us to draft a policy that he could take to upper management and get them to sign off on. We did, and it was very straightforward. You need to give at least 5 business days notice for events. Presentations/media must be finalized and playable without internet access. One less thing to go wrong, and you're responsible for advancing the slides because we're there to fix computer issues, not read your script and press buttons. Our manager took it to upper management, who agreed it was a good idea, and they signed off on it, and it was distributed to all staff. We had some people slip up, but they were held accountable and promised to not do it again. One day someone from upper management emailed us. Let's call him Bill. Bill was holding an event for 600 people with a guest speaker, who had to be booked weeks in advance. The guest would need their laptop connected to the internet because they had YouTube videos, the projector set up and wireless microphones set up because they'd hand mics around for people to participate. The speaker was due to speak Monday morning, and it was Thursday lunchtime. Plenty of time to set it up, but less than the 5 business days notice. Plus we were double booked by someone who followed the rules, so we said no, even though he was upper management. Bill was not happy. He demanded to know why we were refusing to set things up when there was at least 12 working hours between now and the event, and all that was required was to power on the projector, turn on the mixer and turn on the microphones, and then set up the person's laptop when they arrived Monday. Our manager heard his complaints and sent him an email. "Dear Bill, my team have said no to setting up for this event, and I support their decision. Attached is the policy on event support. This is a reminder that you approved this policy and agreed to abide by it. Attached are general instructions on how to set things up yourself. Best of luck." Bill managed to run the event without us, but he had to do a lot of running around and had a bunch of technical issues that interrupted the event. But at least he learned that if you sign off on the rules, you need to abide by the rules, because he hasn't slipped up since.
Now to the comments. Like, how easy is it to send you an email the minute they confirm the event? Saves you running around and saves them embarrassment of not having it done properly.
I set a system up to do that. They had to book a room in the system, so I added a support drop-down which forced them to select an option before confirming.
This is the way. Part of my job is creating online forms. I often recommend mandatory fields. People are usually like, we don't need to do that. Within a week of go live. Guess what the first ask is? A manager who has your back is worth their weight in gold.
How can I sell this man's manager?
Can I also sell managers who don't have my back? A lack of planning by you does not constitute an emergency for me.
I used to have this on a sign in my cubicle, and pointed to it frequently. It was right next to the sign that said good, fast, cheap. Pick 2.
It was right next to the sign that said good, fast, cheap. Pick 2. Or fewer. I always make sure fewer is an option, if they really want. I'm having flashbacks to working tech/AV for conferences. When I was in my first month working as a trainee for a massive conference center, I was scheduled to work alone for an internal meeting. My manager was a real piece of shit, and 5 minutes before it started, the CEO of the company asked me to set up a lapel mic for him. No such mic had been requested on the call sheet, and the room they were kept in was 10 minutes walk away at the other end of the building. Baby tech me had to straight up say no to the CEO's face. Somehow, I kept my job, but my manager reamed me out for not going the extra mile. Not sure how I was meant to bend time, make the 20 minutes journey there and back, set up and test a mic in 5 minutes, but there you go. Wish I'd had a manager like yours.
We have a saying, bad news ages poorly. You 100% did the right thing. The only thing you could possibly have done without embarrassing the situation more would be to give him an answer he could execute in 5 minutes. Telling him no was like giving those minutes, and all the extra ones he didn't realize he was asking for as a gift.
Yeah, giving options is better than saying no, even if it's well, if you can wait 20 minutes, no problem. Your boss is a cool guy. I see a lot of posts where management is terrible, but we find that it was actually a guy setting up an event who was terrible. That's cool. We have something similar at the moment with the return to the office. Before the lockdown occurred, we were asked to work our butts off to ensure that we could switch work from the office to home working, just in case nobody could get to the office. We got everything worked out, and the company instituted a test where we all worked at home for a week to make sure everything was functioning. We were pleased, and a little surprised, to see everything work faultlessly. Even Teams meetings were less stressful when you weren't battling for bandwidth on the office LAN and corporate WAN. We got a serious amount of praise and kudos for delivering this in a short time frame. As things panned out, we never went back after that first week of testing. The government here instituted a lockdown, and that was it. I've not been in the office since March 2020. Now we have senior managers pushing for everyone to be back in the office. I guess it's all down to seeing the drones at their desks and the fact they took the chance to remodel the office buildings while everyone was out of the various sites. The problem is, we all now see just how efficient it can be working from home. I can go get a coffee whenever I want and don't have to go and queue in the coffee shop over the road. I can organize my day around me and my wife, take a longer lunch and still fit my work hours in around me. I don't have the commute and the traffic, and I don't have to pay restaurant prices for my lunch in the staff restaurant. I have a great connection back to the office over the VPN, and I have a better mobile phone signal at home than I do in the office. Why would I want to go back? Here's where it gets fun. We don't need to be hands-on with the servers. The senior managers created a hardware specialist team to do that. We don't need to be on site for client meetings. The sales and client relationship teams do that. We always hear the senior managers going on about how we are a global team and how technology brings us together. So when they start demanding we all go back into the office, then are getting a pushback, and our team manager is one of those pushing back hardest. This is because he probably lives furthest out and has the worst commute of us all. But at the moment he says there is no evidence the office is safe from COVID and that we are all safer staying home to protect ourselves and the company. The directors are fuming but can't do anything about it. Meanwhile, we are all applying to be permanent home workers and have the evidence to show we can be just as productive when we do.
I've been working from home for years, and all but one of my managers, 5,000 miles away, have been fine with it. But one, she demanded I enter on her calendar in advance, which part of my city, office or home, that I would be in any particular day. I complied for a bit until I realized she had no way of telling where I was working, and it was just some pointless micromanagement from her. She Peter principled out of there thankfully.
Learning the hard way is very effective, but one does not want to learn this way very often.
Unfortunately, if Bill is anything like anyone in upper management of any organization that I've ever known, it's the manager who will have to learn. They won't get him for this, of course, because they can't, but the very next thing he slips up on, even just a little bit on a very minor thing, will end his career.
Media must be finalized and playable without internet access. Good for you for getting that one through. I would also include, media to be projected, or shared in Zoom, must be in widescreen format. People just love submitting Word docs or PDFs in portrait mode, then get mad when no one can read what's on the slides. Any speakers who will be using a microphone must check in with one of the AV staff. This gives the staff member a chance to give a 30-second rundown on how to hold a mic. So many presenters hold them around their belly area and then get mad that no one can hear them. All docs, once submitted, are considered final. It can get really confusing when there's 6 docs floating around called pres.ppt and presfinal.ppt and presfinalnothison.ppt and presfinalnothison.ppt, etc. People complain, but these types of rules are basically for the benefit of their presentations, not to make AV/IT work easier.
These are good tips, thanks for passing them along.